Good evening to all friends. As you all heard, my name is Samira Adri. It's an honor to be here tonight with you all. Great allies of IFCO, Pastors for Peace, and Cuba. And for all those who are new to us in the caravan to Cuba, we welcome you and we want you to know that love is our license. And we plan on using love to bridge every gap of understanding and doubt regarding what Cuba is and who the Cuban people are. So born out of the devastation caused by Hurricane Mitch and George in 1998, Cuba, in its longstanding practice of medical internationalism, sent a brigade of physicians, nurses, and allied health professionals to the countries that were badly affected. Those countries being Guatemala, Honduras, Dominican Republic, and Haiti. The medical brigade quickly realized that the suffering of those nations was not merely due to the recent hurricanes, but rather largely due to the lasting effects of poverty and oppression. And so out of that disaster was born the greatest gift to humanity when Comandante en Jefe Fidel Castro Ruz offered 5,000 scholarships to youth of those impoverished nations to train as medical doctors and return to revive their communities. That gift caused ripples throughout the world as many struggling nations appealed to Cuba for their youth to be extended the same opportunity. The Latin American School of Medicine in Cuba, also known by its abbreviation in Spanish as ELAM, is that gift. Not surprisingly, under IFCO's guidance, United States congressmen and women visited Cuba and they witnessed the robust and impressive healthcare system there. And when they visited ELAM, they inquired about youth from the US being granted the chance to study there. So starting in 2001, the first cohort of US ELAM students began their medical training, but not without the important role that IFCO played in the process, being entrusted by the Cuban government to be the sole entity to administer the scholarships to youth from the United States by way of a grassroots recruitment and vetting process, targeting disadvantaged, underrepresented communities. And 20 years later, this scholarship has granted many communities across the US the honor and privilege of having 196 graduates and currently 56 students altogether representing over 35 states. And so in order to be considered for this exceptional opportunity to be trained in the humanist and social medicine that is true to Cuban medical reputation, a candidate should be a US citizen with no criminal background, be between the ages of 18 and 25 years old, and be a candidate who has at least a B- average in college level sciences, specifically a full year of biology, chemistry, organic chemistry, and physics, all with lab components completed. We encourage all individuals who want to be Cuban-trained physicians to apply. ELAM has produced graduates from over 120 countries who serve in their communities, many of these places gaining their first community physicians. As médicos del Ejército de Batas Blancas, our belief that health is a human right is inherent and a value that we are fighting to be recognized locally and globally. You all have witnessed that medicine and public health should not be practiced separately. And that is just one of the advantages of being trained in Cuba. This scholarship gives our communities a fighting chance to choose people over profit. It gives us the agency to stay committed to the health of our people, especially those among the marginalized and neglected in our society. We want you all to help us spread the word to deserving youth and tell them the truth about Cuba and the true superpower that it is, because it puts people over profits in every way that matters. Especially now, Cuba is battling two wars, the pandemic and the blockade, each of which are exacerbating the effects of the other. As a firsthand witness on the ground when the COVID-19 pandemic was declared, and then the first cases announced in Cuba, I saw the preparedness and the focus of the Cuban strategy to control the virus. It is built on the bedrock of respect for scientific thought and approach. It is grounded in protecting its population by using an elaborate social safety net that has been in place since the triumph of the revolution. It is based on a level of transparency that no other country can boast of. It has transformed what would be in many countries a situation dictated by individuals' fears into a collective and national effort to save lives and avoid the loss of human life at all costs. The most vulnerable sections of the population are prioritized. The preventative measures are taught, emphasized, and reinforced on a daily basis. Today, Cuba holds a record 95% recovery rate and the stunning achievement of 5 prototypes of COVID-19 vaccines, as you all saw, 2 of which have reached the last phase of clinical trials and will most likely serve as the real hope of several countries who cannot afford the cost of vaccines produced by Big Pharma. I'm on the ground, well, I was on the ground again in Cuba up until yesterday, and I can tell you that the Cuban people continue to be resilient in the face of adversity. The pandemic and the blockade are exercising a severe strain on life. My colleagues in the medical sector are facing horrific scenarios without access to medicines necessary to treat patients. Basic over-the-counter medicines we would take for granted in many places around the world are nowhere to be found on the island. Imagine having to tell your patient that you have nothing in stock to bring down their fever, prevent their heart attack, or protect their pregnancy from vitamin deficiencies. The effects of these wars on Cuba don't have the graphic images associated with war by many of us, but the injustice and the violence of the blockade and the pandemic are real. It is causing unimaginable hurt. And the Cuban people are reeling from the rawness of this daily attack on their lives. Revolution in Cuba is a special concept, and it is an ongoing process that has informed many of us regarding what we should strive for. It has been the inspiration for many other revolutions in the world. One life lost in Cuba is enough for everyone to take a sincere pause and redirect energy and resources. For that reason alone, we must stand up and help stop the dangerous situation of allowing our friend, Cuba, to be kicked while already struggling under so much pressure. Please join us on the caravan. Let us engulf our Cuban friends with love and support during this difficult time. Let's travel to Cuba and heal the wounds of this pandemic and bring down the blockade. Just as Elam is a beautiful and lasting gift born out of disaster, we hope to replicate that example, especially now during this global crisis, ripping through the fragility of human life. Yes, good things are possible in times of uncertainty and economic instability. Cuba has shown us by example through and through by weathering the storm and leading others to safety for over 60 years, despite being under a crippling and criminal economic blockade by the United States government. Comandante Che Guevara once said, "La única lucha que se pierde es la lucha que se abandona," which means the only fight that is lost is the one that is abandoned. Please tell everyone interested to reach out to us, IFCO Pastors for Peace, by accessing our website, either to request an application for the medical school or also to enlist to join the caravan this year at www.ifconews.org. And feel free to email me directly at samira, SAMIRA, at ifconews.org. I would be happy to share my experience and answer any questions to any aspiring candidates. Que viva Cuba y que vive la solidaridad.